Minato wasn't sure if Naruto was telling the truth about how he ended up in Konoha, but the man didn't seem like he was dangerous to them. Naruto's survival and recovery was still a mystery, leaving Minato to still be slightly suspicious. How could anyone have that kind of healing abilities? The only explanation was what Naruto himself had supplied: Kekkei Genkei. He had never heard of the bloodline, but there were many Kekkei Genkei that were unknown. It was due to these uncertainties that Minato now found himself in the Hokage's office. Hokage-sama, what the man told me matches with what he told Ito-san. A bit of his story seems unbelievable, but it is all possible. He said that he thinks he has a Kekkei Genkei. The Sandaime, who already looked worried, straightened at the mention of a Kekkei Genkei. What makes him assume he has a Kekkei Genkei? He believes that's why he survived and recovered so quickly. A Kekkei Genkei is a possibility. There have been bloodlines known to affect a man's body. Extended life, unbreakable bones, obviously the Sharingan and Byakugan. If it is a Kekkei Genkei, then there will be no way to physically see it unless it is in use. So we can't confirm or deny what Naruto said. Correct. With this we only have his word. What is his purpose for being in Konoha? This seemed to be the root of the Sandaime's worry. He said that he met a Konoha shinobi that told him about the will of fire. Naruto said that it interested him, so he decided to come to Konoha and see for himself. Do you believe what Naruto claims, or do you believe he is a threat to the village? That's what the problem came down to. Minato couldn't help but be skeptical to Naruto's intentions, but he was certain that the man wasn't a threat. There was just something about Naruto that caused him to trust him. I don't think he is telling the entire truth, but I also don't believe he is a threat. He seems to truly want to be a Konoha shinobi. He said he really likes the village. The Sandaime was quiet. Minato could see the evidence that he was deep in thought. The Hokage's eyebrows were furrowed, and he seemed to be staring at the report in front of him. We have granted wandering shinobi the right to join Konoha before. I will have to meet Naruto personally to discern his intentions myself. Were you told when Naruto will be released from the hospital? Minato nodded. They are keeping him overnight, but the nurse told me that he is almost fully recovered. With the rate he's already recovering at, he should be released tomorrow morning. After he is released, please escort him here. The sooner we talk, the better. The Sandaime smiled at him. Your students turned their report in earlier. They did well on their own. Thank you, Hokage-sama. He was proud of his students. He hadn't been sure that Kakashi and Obito would make it. He had never seen two teammates fight like those two did. He pitied the sensei that had a more dysfunctional team than him. Just a few more hours. The nurse had informed Naruto the previous night that it looked like he was going to be released in the morning. He had fallen asleep easily enough, but had woken up around 4. For the past 2 hours, he had nothing to do but go over the basics of chakra control and usage. Kakashi would be so proud of how he was spending his time. Tick, tick. He was going to break that clock. With everyone being asleep, the room was too quiet. He heard everything. The nurses outside the room, the trees hitting the window, and that stupid clock. Any minute now. The nurse should be back to check on him any minute. Calm down, Kit. I'm trying to rest. Since when do you need rest? Since you almost killed me, Dado. Sorry about that. 30 minutes later, the nurse walked in. The nurse's name tag read Hidari. She smiled at him but didn't speak. She looked at his vitals and recorded them in her notebook. It looks like your body is fully recovered. I've never seen something like this happen before. If you were from my time, you would. He had never stayed in a hospital for more than 3 days, the longest time being when he fought Sasuke at the Valley of the End. Does this mean I can go? The nurse smiled at him like would a child. Well, you seem eager to get out of here. I don't see a reason you can't leave. I'll go get the release forms. Hidari left still wearing her smile. Finally, freedom. You seem a little too happy to be leaving. Naruto jumped, surprised that someone had managed to sneak up on him. The Yondaime stood in front of him. He's not the Yondaime yet. I hate hospitals. I always have. He couldn't believe his father was standing in front of him. How many times had he dreamed of knowing who his parents were? And then, after finding out, dreaming of what it would have been like to know them, maybe he had that chance now. I can understand not liking hospitals, but I've never been as anxious as you to get out of here. The yonde Minato teased. Felt surreal. His father was visiting him while he was in the hospital. But Minato didn't know he was his father. So why was he here? Why are you here? Naruto voiced his thoughts. What? You don't want me here? Minato leaned against the wall. The Hokage would like to speak with you and he asked me to escort you. As soon as the release forms are finished, we'll head over to the Hokage Manor. Where are my clothes? Minato stood up and walked over to a table across the room. The table had a shelf with columns in it. Minato reached into one of the columns and pulled out his clothes. Thank you. I'm going to check if the paperwork is finished yet, Minato said as he handed Naruto his clothes. Naruto nodded. After Minato left, Naruto changed out of his hospital gown. When he collapsed, he had been wearing a Jonin's standard outfit. Blue pants and shirt and a green vest. All of his clothing as well as his weapons pouch was there. The only thing missing was his Hitai 8. Why would they take my Hitai 8? Oh no. If they see my leaf Hitai 8, then they'll know I'm not from Getsu. Wait, I remember now, it fell off back in our time. Phew, at least we don't have to worry about our cover being blown. Yet, always the optimist, Minato came back several minutes after Naruto finished getting dressed. Everything's set. Follow me. It was strange, following Minato around. Naruto had always assumed his father was a serious person. Minato was lighthearted, teasing him and making offhand comments about Konoha. Despite his many trips to the Hokage Manor, this was Naruto's first time considering it fun. As they entered the building, Naruto was reminded how much it had changed from the Sandame's time. The walls were still red, the ceiling was still white, and Naruto was pretty sure that was the same receptionist desk. The decor was what was different. The Sandame kept things simple. A plaque here, a proverb there, nothing overly personal. Naruto had pictures of all of Konoha's heroes on the walls, including the White Fang. He never said it, but Naruto was sure it meant a lot to Kakashi. The receptionist looked up as they approached. Hokage-sama told me to send you back, Minato-san. Minato said thank you and walked past the desk. Naruto really didn't need Minato showing him where the Hokage's office was. It had become his own office, but it was best not to let that out. Minato stopped at the door to the office and knocked. After being told to enter, Minato opened the door. Naruto was startled by how much younger the Sandame looked. He had known that the Sandame was alive and had to be younger. He just wasn't expecting how much younger he looked. The Sandame Naruto knew was completely gray, had a bend to his posture, and had many wrinkles. This Sandame still had some color in his hair, sat up straight, and had significantly less wrinkles. Naruto wondered, not for the first time, how many years the Yandame's death and Orochimaru's betrayal put on the Sandame. The Sandame started to see him at first. Naruto assumed no one mentioned how much he looked like Minato. The Sandame stared at him for a few seconds before turning his attention to Minato. Thank you for escorting him here. I would like to talk with him alone. Minato bowed his head and left. Left alone with the Sandame, Naruto felt unsure what to say. The Sandame was quiet, studying him. After what felt like minutes, the Sandame spoke. My subordinates have told me your story, but I would like to hear it from you. Hopefully he remembered his lie. I'm a shinobi, originally from Getsu. I grew to dislike the politic of Getsu and left the village. During my time of wandering, I met a Konoha shinobi. He had such pride in his village that it intrigued me. I came by the south entrance. I saw the fire and attempted to use water jutsu, but I struggled with my chakra control and I ended up exhausting all of my chakra. And how is it you survived being completely drained of your chakra? And your recovery? I don't know the reason for sure, but I believe both can be attributed to a Kekkei Genkei. Or, the Kyubi no Kitsune. The Sandame was quiet again. After another minute or two, he spoke. I can't find fault within your story. Ito-san and Minato-san both told me your story, and I found nothing to disprove what you've said. Without any evidence against you, I believe you. Naruto released his breath. He didn't know what he'd do if the Sandaime didn't believe him. Minato-san mentioned you were interested in becoming a Konoha shinobi. Yes. Just from the hospital care and your treatment of me, I can tell there is something special about this village. What rank were you when you left Getsu? Might as well be honest. Genin. The Sandaime nodded. Very well. If you had been higher ranking, I would have tested your skill. Instead, I will assign you to a Genin team. Aren't the teams already made up of 3 men cells? Yes, but a team with a medic shinobi could have a 4th man added. I will give you your assignment tomorrow. Do you have money for tonight? Thankfully, he kept his money in his pants pocket. Yes, Hokage-sama. I have enough to last me until the end of the week. I will have Ikuto-san show you around town. Within moments, said Shinobi was inside the room. Ikuto motioned for Naruto to follow him. Great, I bet I'm going to get stuck with D-rank missions. Hopefully it doesn't take too long for me to move up in the ranks. Maybe you could actually get promoted to Chunin this time. I could have previously. There just wasn't a reason to. Kit, I believe you should only use skills on a Genin level. You shouldn't know most of your techniques, especially Kage Bunshin, Rasengan, and Sage Mode. I agree. I'll mostly rely on Taijutsu and water techniques. This will give me a chance to improve my water jutsus. And I'm not going to be relying on you, Kyubi. I don't want anyone here to know I'm a Jinchuriki. Naruto paused when he realized he had already resigned himself to being here long-term. Minato had been expecting to get summoned to the Hokage's office for a second time. The Sandaime was probably going to fill him in on his decision about Naruto. How can I help you, Hokage-sama? Minato bowed his head in respect. I agree with you about Naruto. He seems genuine, but not everything he said rings true. I've decided to trust him and give him the benefit of the doubt. I also approved his request to join the ranks of Konoha Shinobi. Minato hadn't expected that. When are you going to test him? It seems that will not be necessary. He is only a Genin rank. It would be best to put him on a Genin team with a medic shinobi in order to keep balance to the teams. I believe the best solution would be your team. What? My team? With Rinchan's specialty being in the medical field, it would be good for your team to have another shinobi for battles. Do you have any reason for Naruto to not be placed on your team? I don't know much about his personality, and I'm afraid he could clash with Obito or Kakashi. That is an unknown factor, but I believe your team will overcome it. This also solves another one of your problem. When Minato looked confused, the Sandaime continued. You will have 3 Genin on your team, which takes away from Rin and Obito's previous disadvantage during the Chunin exams. That only gave Rin, Obito, and Naruto 2 weeks to start operating like a team. And even if they were training for the Chunin exams together, he also needed to make sure Kakashi developed teamwork with the new addition as well. It was going to be hard, adding a new member after a year of them being a team, but it could be done. My team meets at trained field 3 at 8 in the morning. I'll make sure he knows. Minato bowed again and left. He hoped Naruto was good at working on a team. Years as a wanderer taught you to work alone. He knew. He had seen it in Jiraiya.